I want to say Happy New Year, and I certainly mean that with all sincerity to each and every one of you, but it's very difficult when we consider today's January 3rd, and as Minister England just pointed out, and as we all know too well, we have had yet another spate of violent activity in the city right at the first of the year. I think 8 shootings in a 16-hour period, one of which sadly resulted in death. So I'm back again as a citizen, as a former practitioner right here in the city, to talk about violence. You might recall last time I spoke on the topic, I mentioned a different approach, a scientific approach, that we ought to be looking at this very, very serious and poignant matter through that lens, research-based interventions, and so on. And I want to just kind of follow up, if I might, for a minute with a study that was done recently in the city of Newark, where a former resident who is now a criminal justice professor and researcher at Michigan State University, they did a 30-year study on homicide trends in the city of Newark. And their conclusion as a result of that study is that homicides and violence in the city of Newark, and I'm sure similar urban centers around the country, ought to be looked at as an infectious disease. So not only do we, or should we look at this as a public health matter, but we ought to be looking at it just like we do cancer and other infectious diseases. What they learned over 30 years is that these trends start in clusters. And we know that too, that it begins in a cluster and it moves like an infectious disease into other parts of the city. And I think that's what we're seeing here in our very own backyard here in the city of Trenton. So I'm here again to encourage the council to work collaboratively with the state, the county, the city. This is not simply a law enforcement matter. And while I'm certainly the first to stand up here as a citizen, primarily a taxpayer, and say that we absolutely must revisit the allocation of resources in the police department, our deployment, our staffing levels, certainly doing priority-based budgeting, and clearly if we take that approach, I think that we would draw very quickly to the conclusion that the staffing of the police department, in terms of our current need for public safety, is inadequate. So that's one piece of it, but that's only a piece. We also need to be demonstrating, as I said, collaborative leadership and solutions-based approaches to this problem. I keep referring to myself as a citizen. In fact, not only have I been a citizen, my wife and I, for the last 13 years, but we're now retirees. And I get more and more passionate about this, you know, as I view it through the lens of a retired citizen of Trenton. That means fixed income, taxpayer. How do we go on this way with violence rampant and apparently now very random, if we could believe the accounts that we read in the paper about these recent shootings, random acts of violence. That seems to be the elephant in the room that many of us choose or try to ignore as we talk about development and vitality and livability. All these things that we all embrace, but yet we can't get past this issue of crime and violence in our city. So how is it then that we can have a serious discussion about development and growth and our city reaching its full potential, and we have yet to see collaborative leadership and intervention around this issue? So I'm not trying to dress you down. I'm simply here to encourage you and to support you. We went to the State House on December 17th as a city, as a community, and put forth a 10-point plan to the legislature to help us address this very serious problem. And all I'm asking of the council as, again, a citizen, a taxpayer, can't ignore the elephant in the room. Please help us pull together our legislative delegation at the state level. The county needs to be visible in this process, along with the city and other departments outside of police. Let's get our arms around this matter, if indeed we're going to survive. Frankly, I'm here very concerned about the survival of our community. And I underscore the word "our." I have nowhere to go. I'm not from the city, but I'm a Trentonian. I don't have a house anywhere else. This is it. I have one residence, and that's in the city of Trenton. I got nowhere to go, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of most of the people who are similarly situated. Seniors, retirees, people who are in the same situation that I am, and they would probably say the same thing to you. We've got nowhere else to go. So the best thing we can do is to focus on the issues that challenge us, these very serious problems around crime and violence, and let's inspire, if nothing else, a collaborative approach so that we can finally begin to see a reduction in crime and violence. And maybe then, when we see an appreciable reduction in this matter, we can talk about other things like economic development and growth for our city. Thank you very much.